Rafael Devers, he'll go to San Francisco.
They were sick of Rafi Devers and the way he was acting, putting up a fight to move from third base to DH.
You've been trying to salvage this season. You finally get there, and then you trade Rafael Devers. Something to me, we're not hearing the whole story here.
The Boston Red Sox have been one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. They just called up the #1 prospect in all of baseball, have won 5 games in a row, just swept the Yankees, and dominated the best offense in all of baseball. But for some reason, despite being tied for a playoff spot, general manager of the Boston Red Sox, Craig Brelo, decided to trade away the franchise's best player since Mookie Betts. Why did Craig Brelo do this? What was his goal? Will the Red Sox be better or worse? But more importantly, how did the Red Sox just isolate their entire fan base with just one trade? Now, to give some background, Rafael Devers is one of the most famous active athletes in the New England area. Or should I say was. Devers had won a World Series with the team, had earned praise from franchise legends such as David Ortiz, and over the years ended up being the remaining member of the legendary 2018 World Series championship team. In fact, back in 2023, when the Red Sox signed Rafael Devers to an 11-year, $331 million extension, fans viewed the signing as a necessity due to the fact the team lost Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts in recent off seasons. However, since signing that contract, Devers has been fantastic. He's earned MVP votes, earned All-Star honors, won Silver Sluggers, and recently even hit his 500th extra base hit with the team. However, coming into the 2025 season, things were different. Back at the end of the 2023 season, the Boston Red Sox fired Chaim Bloom, the man who gave Devers that monster deal, and in his place, they hired Craig Brelo. Brelo wasn't the Red Sox first pick for the job, but he was the man who ended up taking the position. Brelo was never a huge fan of Devers at defense, and that's completely understandable. Even in Devers' best defensive seasons at third base, he was a league average defender. At his worst seasons, he was the worst defensive third baseman in the American League. There was an obvious solution in Breslow's eyes. Just stop letting him play defense. What a perfect solution. Let the player who is good at offense play offense, but is bad at defense not play defense. You know what would be even better? If you replaced him defensively with a player like Alex Bregman, who's won Gold Gloves in the past. There's no way this could ever go wrong. Or could it? You see, there was just one problem with this entire situation. Rafael Devers did not want to DH. In his eyes, he was a third baseman.
So are you saying if they ask you to DH, you won't do it?
No,
Can you expand on that?
I played third.
This entire situation seems insane. Why would the Red Sox sign a player to play third base without ever telling their current third baseman? Not only that, but when it was rumored you were interested in Alex Bregman, you not only didn't tell Devers he might take his position, you told him Bregman would play second base. What was Craig Brelo thinking? He single-handedly created a disaster waiting to happen. So when Rafael Devers started off the season terribly, it made sense the trade rumors would start swirling. After all, Devers had beef with the front office, and he was playing terribly. But then he started to hit better and better and better until he ended up finishing the month of May with a 1.074 OPS. Not only that, but after Tristan Cassis went down with a season-ending knee injury, Craig Brelo asked Rafael Devers to play first base, to which Devers said no. But honestly, it wasn't that big of a deal. Instead, the Red Sox opted to call up veteran Abraham Toro, who has been amazing as a replacement. The veteran utility man is currently rocking an OPS near 900 with 13 extra base hits in just 28 games. So who cares if Devers didn't want to play first base? He was the best DH in the American League, and Abraham Toro was an amazing surprise. But Toro and Devers weren't the only ones getting hot either. At the beginning of June, the Red Sox were on fire, first winning a series against the New York Yankees in the Bronx, then beating the Blue Jays in a 3-game set back at Fenway. To make matters even better, they then proceeded to sweep the New York Yankees back at Fenway to cap off a 5-game winning streak that not only brought the team over 500, but also tied them for a wild card spot. The Boston Red Sox, for the span of about 2 hours, were on top of the world. They had their big 3 prospects all called up. Brayan Bello had tossed the best start of his young career. Garrett Crochet looked phenomenal versus the Yankees, and Rafael Devers hit this opposite field shot that marked his 500th extra base hit as a member of the Boston Red Sox. But now, in hindsight, it was his final hit as a member of the Boston Red Sox. Hours after the sweep, it was reported that the Boston Red Sox had traded Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants for Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, James Tibbs, and Jose Bella. A terrible haul for a franchise cornerstone. Kyle Harrison certainly has potential, that's for sure, but he's been a career 4.5 ERA guy his entire career. Plus, the Red Sox already optioned him to AAA. They don't even view this guy as an ace. So how can he be the headline of the trade package for the face of your franchise? Next is Jordan Hicks, who was a career reliever turned starter in San Francisco. He was underwhelming last season as a starter and has mainly turned into a reliever this season. He's all over the place, super inconsistent, and his ERA is a disgusting 6.47. Now, these are the two players that headlined the trade package for the face of your franchise. A flamed out top pitching prospect and a failed starter turned reliever who's currently rocking an ERA in the sixes and is owed a combined $25 million in 2026 and 2027. James Tibbs is San Francisco's first round pick from last year, and although he's been solid in high A, he hasn't showcased any elite potential. So all in all, let's summarize what the Boston Red Sox got for their best offensive player and face of their franchise. A young former top pitching prospect who hasn't lived up to expectations, a salary dump reliever, a solid high A prospect, and a lottery ticket pitcher. That's an abysmal haul, if you ask me. Plus, what if I told you the Red Sox didn't even shop Devers? That's right, apparently, Rafael Devers never requested a trade, and the Red Sox only contacted the San Francisco Giants about trading Rafael Devers. This has led to Red Sox fans completely losing their mind on social media. For example, look at this cool project by a Red Sox fan featured on MLB's own Twitter account, showcasing them crocheting a sweater during Garrett Crochet's starts. Well, even she's announced she's no longer going to do that over this trade. This deal has completely isolated the fan base, as well as the locker room. What kind of message does this send to a young locker room? You just traded away your best offensive player after sweeping your rivals for nothing that will immediately help you. And again, this is a team that has been surging as of late. They've put themselves back into playoff contention. So to me, this just doesn't make sense. Yes, the Red Sox definitely needed pitching help. They have been horrible as a bullpen and have lost plenty of games because of their inability to pitch. But you didn't even get back that good of a pitching haul, and Rafael Devers was your best hitter. So why did this happen? Why did Craig Brelo decide to cause so much chaos in Boston? Before we get into why I believe Craig Brelo made this trade, let's get into why Devers trade truthers believe he made this deal. For starters, the Red Sox just gave over $200 million owed to a DH off their books, which on paper is solid. Everyone in the MLB knew that this contract made no sense and put the Red Sox underwater. Plus, they just cleared a huge logjam. When Wilyer Abreu gets back from injury, Roman Anthony can remain on the big league roster by DHing. Plus, in the meantime, this gives the Red Sox the option to DH Rob Refsnyder, Romy Gonzalez, and Marcelo Mayer, depending on who's starting. Finally, according to Red Sox insider Pete Abraham, the team's feeling was that a $313.5 million contract comes with responsibilities to do what is right for the team, and that Devers did not live up to those responsibilities. They had enough and they traded him. Now that I've tried to explain this situation as rationally as I can, it's time for why I think Craig Brelo did this. I think Brelo did this for one simple reason. He caused this mess, refuses to acknowledge he caused this mess, and got extremely butthurt when Rafael Devers was on pace for the best season of his career. So in retaliation, traded him for pennies on the dollar. This seriously makes the most sense to me. Rafael Devers never requested a trade. Was he unhappy with the entire Bregman and first base situation? Of course. But the fact is, he never wanted out. Here's another fact. The Red Sox never shopped him around. They easily could have gotten a better package elsewhere for a top 10 hitter in the entire sport, or even better pitching. Here's the final piece to the puzzle. Brelo started all of this by lying straight to Devers' face and telling him Bregman would play second base. And then when they signed Bregman, they told Devers to suck it up and play DH. He mismanaged this entire situation from the start and essentially hit the panic button by trading Devers for what can only be described as a mediocre package. But what if I told you it only gets worse from here for the Boston Red Sox? Now, before I get into that, I do want to quickly just give huge props to the San Francisco Giants here. This is an absolutely amazing trade for them in my eyes. Now, yes, they are taking on a huge $250 million plus contract still owed through 2023, but offense is something they absolutely needed to shore up. They have lost so many games because of a lack of offensive production. The pitching staff in San Francisco this year has been so dominant, but they have lost a lot of games 2-0, 1-0 because their offense hasn't given them the support that they needed. They definitely had a great pitching staff and were able to give away a couple pitching prospects and get back Rafael Devers, a superstar offensive talent that honestly brings this team into World Series competitors for me overnight. This is absolutely huge for San Francisco, and to me, they really have been out to prove ever since they missed out on Aaron Judge that they're the real deal and they're not a laughingstock. So honestly, huge props to the Giants for making this trade. As of today, they're only one game out from the division lead with the Dodgers, and this just really takes them to the next level. So it's going to be really exciting to see what happens with this team the rest of the year and into the playoffs. But back to the Red Sox for a second. The Boston Red Sox had two shiny new acquisitions last season. First off, they traded for Garrett Crochet, then proceeded to extend him for 6 years. But then they also signed Alex Bregman to a $120 million 3-year deal. But here's the catch. He has opt-outs after every single season, meaning he could choose to opt out after this season and become a free agent once again. And if things keep going the way they're going, that's exactly what's going to happen. Alex Bregman had acquired 3B WAR by the time he got injured back in May. If he continues on this pace when he comes back from injury, he'll finish this season as the best third baseman in all of baseball. What's the best way to capitalize on this? Opt out of your deal, which only guarantees you $80 million, and sign a new deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Why does this matter for the Red Sox? Well, because they essentially chose Bregman over Devers. If the Red Sox lose Rafael Devers for just one season of Alex Bregman, it won't just make Craig Breslow and the Red Sox look stupid, it would be one of the biggest blunders in baseball history. This essentially forces the Red Sox to match whatever deal Bregman is offered. By dealing away Devers, Craig Breslow just gave all of the extension leverage to Alex Bregman. He either matches whatever number he wants or loses his job. It's that simple. To summarize this entire situation, Craig Breslow made a mess by mishandling the situation and isolated the entire fan base by making a personal trade to get somebody he personally had an issue with off of the team. That is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard of in my life. The Boston Red Sox had all of the momentum in the world entering the middle of June. Now they have nothing but disdain for the man that got rid of the last remaining member of the 2018 World Series championship team and finally ending the era of Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, and Rafael Devers. But I am curious, what do you guys think? Is it that obvious that the Giants won this trade? Is there something we're not seeing here that the Red Sox are going to come out on top? The fact that they salary dumped a huge Devers deal? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this trade. And don't forget to subscribe for more hard-hitting analysis. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.